United States intelligence reveals Russia is prepared to invade Ukraine.
And in sports, a share of the TVC Ohio boys basketball title is on the line in Benton County tonight. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Andre Knowles.
And I'm Curtis Fader. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for the latest news impacting southeastern Ohio. Zanesville singer Jane Marsuski died this weekend at the age of 31. The singer, who was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, passed away yesterday. Known by the stage name Nightbird, Marsuski became a national sensation from her appearance on the show America's Got Talent. On the show, she received a standing ovation and the Golden Buzzer after singing original song It's Okay. Her song talked about her determination to remain positive and hopeful while struggling with her cancer diagnosis. AGT Judge Howie Mandel remembers Marsuski as a bright, inspirational light and says we must continue to live and learn by her words. A group of parents and students are suing the Cable County School District for allowing an evangelical preacher to hold a religious revival assembly during the school day. This occurred earlier this month at an assembly that was required for some students to attend.
Ask how many of you believe in this man. Most of you would raise your hands and say yes. And if you believe that everything in this book is true, then you must also believe the parts about judgment, about heaven and hell.
I've been to church many times in my life, and it was enough of a video for me to know exactly what this was. And he asked, is this legal? And I'm just like, why are you there? And he was sort of confused as to why he was there.
And so the first option you have is hearing him say, well done. The second thing that might happen to you is he might look at you like, maybe like some of you look at some people.
At one point I said, well, I'm definitely going to call the principal about this. I said over text, and he sort of said, LOL, the principal's here. So, at that point, I kind of thought this is a little more than just some kind of, oops kind of thing.
We believe right now that life has never.
The suit was filed in the U.S. District Court on behalf of families by the Freedom from Religious Foundation. It alleges Cable County School System has a systematic history of disregarding the religious freedom of its students and instituting Christian religious practices. The lawsuit states that on February 2nd, 2 Huntington High School teachers escorted their entire class to an assembly hosted by evangelical preacher Nick Walker. Now, for a first look at your weather, here's Cam Cousineau.
Thank you, Curtis. Right now in Athens, we'll see a nice 55 degrees as temperatures will begin to decline from the nice mid-60s we saw earlier today. Skies will be partly cloudy, and sunset was at 6:14 p.m. Winds are relatively calm at around 0 to 5 miles per hour in varying directions. Across the region, mid-50s temperatures for pretty much everywhere, almost 60 degrees down in Arlington, but the same partly cloudy skies will be happening through across the region and will be increasing through the night. And for the week ahead, we will begin to see some rain starting tonight and into tomorrow. We're also due for a very active weather week with 2 different weather systems, both happening tonight and later in the week. And of course, with large amounts of precipitation, we have a flooding risk during the week. I will keep you updated on that later during my full forecast. That's all I have for our first look at the weather. Back to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Cam. An investigation has cleared Cedar Point amusement park in Ohio for violating laws and rules. This comes after an accident last year regarding the world's second tallest roller coaster. The accident happened in August when a woman standing in line was hit in the head by a metal object that flew off the Top Thrill Dragster ride. The Ohio Department of Agriculture's Amusement Ride Safety Division investigated the accident. The agency released a 620-page report Friday and said it is not recommending any sanctions against Cedar Point. The report says there is no evidence Cedar Point knew of had reason to believe the ride was unsafe. The Louisville mayoral candidate who was shot at last week say he and his team are traumatized by hearing the shooter has only been placed on house arrest. 21-year-old Quintez Brown was arrested and charged with attempted murder shortly after Monday's shooting in Louisville. The Democratic candidate Craig Greenberg was not hit by the gunfire, but said a bullet grazed his sweater. United States Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell expressed outrage at Brown's release in remarks on the Senate floor, calling the development jaw-dropping. An Indiana woman is behind bars after she reportedly admitted to abandoning her autistic son in Ohio. The 5-year-old was later found by a bystander and is now being held by local officials. Jeremy Toombs has the interview with the boy's mother.
Contradictory answers to the names of people you left him with in Coleraine. So did you leave him with someone, or did you not?
No, I didn't leave him with anyone.
Heather Adkins is accused of abandoning her nonverbal, autistic 5-year-old son in Coleraine Township, Ohio, about 75 miles from their home of Shelbyville, Indiana.
Hamilton County Police Dispatch.
Hi, my daughter's boyfriend just came over. We live on Ravensridge Lane off of Gaines, and he said there was a little kid out there on Sheed Road by himself waving down cars.
Ronald Reese was headed out to pick up food Thursday night when he found Adkins' son, saying he looked like he was in a daze as he walked along a busy road with no sidewalks.
I immediately stopped and was like, wait a minute, this isn't normal.
The child is now in the custody of Hamilton County Jobs and Family Services. Assistant Chief of Georgetown Police Darren Allgood says Adkins was arrested this weekend at a gas station in Georgetown for an unpaid fine dating back to 2011. The incident prompted emotional responses from parents like Reese and those in the Coleraine neighborhood.
I'm angry. If you didn't want to deal with your child or your son, take him to the nearest relative that you feel is fit to take care of him.
It certainly hits home. I have a child that's nonverbal as well, and to think about him being alone is very sad.
Reese hopes this can serve as a wake-up call for Adkins.
I'm just trying to understand why you ultimately chose to do that.
To save him from me.
You can reach the National Autism Helpline at 800-328-8476. Again, that is 800-328-8476, or you can visit autismsociety.org. Closing arguments began today in the hate crime trial of Ahmaud Arbery's murderers.
And former President Donald Trump's social media app launches after his suspension from major social networks. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
I would love to become a cyborg, to run faster, to jump higher, to do all kinds of things that we can't even imagine today.
Literally within minutes of having it all connected, it starts becoming part of me.
I believe the individual will be able to design their own physicality, will be able to sculpt their own identity.
Augmented on Nova. This is very exciting.
On Finding Your Roots, actors Nathan Lane
It makes me want to have a party.
and Leslie Odom Jr.
It is a real reimagining of self.
Dramatic stories from Ireland.
They were kicking them out.
I didn't know any of this.
And the startling discovery.
That is your grandpappy.
Wow.
The fact that you've gone back this far is overwhelming.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, our New Hampshire guests are wild about their treasures.
This is Leo and Reggie. I got them from my grandparents. Me and my cousins used to always play with them.
This brooch belonged to my grandmother. She always called it the Phoenix. And I looked at it, and it's a stork.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from the Omni Mount Washington Resort in New Hampshire.
In America, horses helped forge a new world. And that new world created unique horses, shaped by land and work, but sustained by their connection to us. Each breed has its own story and legacy. These are American horses.
International fears of a Russian invasion are escalating as the White House warns an invasion could happen in the coming hours or days. Despite a new path towards diplomacy now open, one U.S. official familiar with the latest intelligence says there has been no slowdown from Russia at the Ukraine border. Isabel Rosales is in Washington on the diplomatic effort to deter an invasion.
U.S. intelligence and satellite images reveal Russia going full speed ahead with military preps.
Today might be that day, and we hope that's not the case, which is why we continue to exhaust every possible diplomatic option here going forward.
In a TV broadcast, Russian President Vladimir Putin accusing the West of threats. The Russian president says he is officially recognizing the separatist regions in Ukraine as independent states. Putin airing his grievances about the breakup of the former Soviet republics.
Modern Ukraine from the beginning and in its totality has been created by Russia.
The U.S. and allies warn every indication shows Russia is preparing to invade.
These are not the actions of a Russian government fulfilling its repeated declarations that it has no intention of invading Ukraine.
The U.S. also says it has credible information about a Russian kill list, writing in a letter to the United Nations that Russia is identifying Ukrainians to be killed or sent to camps. The Kremlin denying the claim, calling it absolute fiction.
We believe that any military operation of the size, scope, and magnitude of what we believe the Russians are planning will be extremely violent. It will cost the lives of Ukrainians and Russians, civilians and military personnel alike.
The Russian escalation at the front lines is at odds with what Putin has said publicly. Putin agreeing to a summit with President Joe Biden.
He can do the right thing by finding a diplomatic path forward.
Biden accepting on the condition Russia not invade Ukraine. In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
In response to Putin's recognition of two pro-Moscow Ukrainian territories, President Biden is set to impose new sanctions on the regions. In a statement, the White House said that the executive order would prohibit new investment, trade, and finance by Americans to, from, or in those regions of Ukraine. In Russia's proclamation also was an order to troops to enter newly recognized regions. There, the troops will act as what Russia calls peacekeepers. Other NATO allies have followed the U.S. and have implemented heavy sanctions against Russia and the Ukrainian regions. Closing arguments were made today in the federal hate crimes trial of 3 men convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery. Both sides rested their cases after 4 days of testimony with 20 witnesses in Brunswick, Georgia federal court. William Roddy Bryan, Gregory McMichael, and his son Travis killed Arbery in February of 2020 after chasing him down while he was jogging. Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, says she is confident in the case presented by the Department of Justice. Arbery's mother hopes to have a verdict by Wednesday, the 1-year anniversary of Arbery's death.
An alternative social media platform backed by former President Trump went live today. Truth Social became available on Apple's App Store, but access to the service appears limited for now. The service, a Twitter-like application, is owned by Trump Media and Technology Group. Trump stated the media company after leaving the White House. Users who downloaded the app Monday morning were greeted by a message inviting them to register for the service, but the sign-up process ended in a wait list. Trump is seeking to get back onto social media a year after being suspended by multiple mainstream platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, after the January 6th Capitol breach. Posts on the platform are referred to as truths, and resharing a post is known as a retruth. The head of the media company said last week Truth Social expects to be fully operational by the end of March. Families of victims question the work of a detective after allegedly making threats to kill his fellow officers. That story is still ahead.
And we have an active week of weather ahead of us with not one but 2 potential major weather systems affecting our area that could bring anything from thunderstorms to winter weather. I'll have more about that during my full forecast after the break, but for now, let's have a look at some stocks of local interest.
I would love to become a cyborg, to run faster, to jump higher, to do all kinds of things that we can't even imagine today.
Literally within minutes of having it all connected, it starts becoming part of me.
I believe the individual will be able to design their own physicality, will be able to sculpt their own identity.
Augmented on Nova.
Experience the birth of the cool with American Master Jazzman Miles Davis.
Music had been my total life.
He changed everything just by the way he was playing.
I want to feel the way Miles sounds.
Makes my soul smile.
All I ever wanted to do was communicate what I felt through music.
Be cool with the extraordinary Miles Davis on American Masters.
Remember I told you I was at college? Really, Mommy is in jail.
I was soccer mom. My life was my kids.
I miss this. The system is designed to be punitive, but it's about getting our lives restored.
You want me to go out there and explain to people that I have a felony, that I was a drug addict?
It's gonna be a struggle, but I'm ready.
Apart, Monday, February 21st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Lace up those sneakers and hit the hardwood, because Hardwood Heroes is back. Every Sunday night, we are bringing you the best basketball that the Tri-Valley Conference has to offer. Who will sit atop the TVC Ohio and TVC Hawking? Find out when you tune into WOUB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. And throughout the week, follow along on social media for scores, highlights, and more. We're excited to see you back on the courts, and as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Good evening, everybody. I'm weather forecaster Cam Kuzno, and I regret to inform you all that the nice clear weather we've had today will be coming to an end here shortly. A big stationary front located over the region and most of the Great Lakes area is going to begin causing some cloud cover that's going to increase through the night, and then that air mass will be set into motion and start to cause some rain for us that will begin tonight. At 8 o'clock p.m., the temperature will be 51 degrees, and temperatures will drop slowly through the night. At 10 o'clock p.m., cloud cover will continue to increase to more of a mostly cloudy or overcast until showers begin at around midnight tonight, when the temperature will be 49 degrees. The low tonight is only 48, so it's not expected to drop very much from what we saw at midnight, with a 70% chance of rain showers that will continue to get stronger as the night goes on, and winds are from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Across the area, pretty much everyone will be affected by that exact same weather system, with stronger rains and higher temperatures towards the south and a little bit cooler towards the north. Tomorrow morning, we have some potential early morning thunderstorms, and the rain will slow down at around 10 o'clock a.m. But at noon, it will be 62 degrees, and the wind will pick up, the rain will pick up, and we will see potentially even more thunderstorms later in the day. The high will be 64 degrees with an 80% chance of rain and potential thunderstorms starting at 3 p.m. Winds will be south between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Across the region, everyone will be affected by that rain system. We're going to see quite a bit of rain with warmer temperatures up to potentially even 70 degrees in Arlington. The National Weather Service has issued a flood watch due to the amount of precipitation we will be seeing. We'll be seeing maybe even upwards of 3 inches in the southern part of our area, and there is a high risk for flooding due to the high precipitation week we had last week, as well as this system and the upcoming system in a few days. Make sure if you live near any rivers, such as the Muskingum River, the Hawking River, or the Ohio River, as well as any major creeks, be on the lookout for any high waters and make sure you turn around and don't drown during your commute. This nasty cold front will be bringing the rain, and that is attached to this low pressure system above the lower peninsula of Michigan, and we will continue to be battered by significant rain events through the next couple of days. Pardon me, my graphic is a little messed up, but Tuesday and Wednesday we'll see this rain system, and that'll last potentially to the morning, when skies will clear later in the day on Wednesday. We'll see temperatures below freezing Thursday and Friday, when we could potentially see freezing precipitation, snow, and rain. And that will change depending on when in the day we'll see. Weather will be a little bit clearer towards the end of the week, but colder temperatures will return. That's all I have. Back to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Cam. A Kentucky homicide detective was fired for threatening to bring a gun to work and kill some of his fellow officers. Now, the family of victims in some of the cases he was investigating are doubting the quality of his police work. Tori Gessner has the details.
December 31st, 2020, while people were looking forward to the new year, Antonia Lucas's mother was wishing she could go back in time. The night her daughter was murdered, she was on the way to a hair appointment. Instead, she was found shot dead inside a stranger's car in Smoketown.
We could have never have thought that this would be the ending that Antonia would have had.
A 23-year-old Daniel Key Jr. was found dead on top of Lucas's body, according to the report. Almost 14 months later, her mother says she's only talked to the lead detective on the case 4 or 5 times. Now, another roadblock, because that lead detective is set to be fired. Detective Christopher Palombi is accused of threatening to bring guns to the homicide unit and kill some of his fellow officers, specifically naming them, according to his pre-termination letter. Lucas's mother says last Thursday, LMPD told her a new detective was assigned to her daughter's case without any explanation. Now that she knows the reason why, she's worried the 14 months she spent waiting for answers were for nothing.
You want to know if the demons that he's fighting is causing him to have been lax in his cases, if one of his cases may have caused this to happen, or if our cases aren't getting the attention that they needed because he wasn't the person that he needed to be to solve these cases.
LMPD says Palombi has had 15 to 20 homicide cases since he's been with the unit, but the department wouldn't say how many of them are still open. According to weekly homicide reports, he has at least 7 he's still investigating, just from January 2021. Behind the open cases, there's a family, like Lucas's, waiting for answers.
This is the biggest pain that you could ever endure. And you don't want to keep living every day not knowing who did this to your child, because she deserves justice. Not just my child, but every child deserves justice.
Louisville police issued a statement saying all of Palombi's cases have been assigned to other detectives. They promised their officers will be reaching out to families soon.
Coming up in sports, Ohio women's basketball is on the road at Akron. And right after the break, a live report from Benton County High School as the Vikings finish out their season. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Remember I told you I was at college? Really, Mommy is in jail.
I was soccer mom. My life was my kids.
I miss this. The system is designed to be punitive, but it's about getting our lives restored.
And you want me to go out there and explain to people that I have a felony, that I was a drug addict.
It's gonna be a struggle, but I'm ready.
Apart, Monday, February 21st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Experience the birth of the cool with American Master Jazzman Miles Davis.
Music had been my total life.
He changed everything just by the way he was playing.
I want to feel the way Miles sounds.
Makes my soul smile.
All I ever wanted to do was communicate what I felt through music.
Be cool with the extraordinary Miles Davis on American Masters.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, our New Hampshire guests are wild about their treasures.
This is Leo and Reggie. I got them from my grandparents. Me and my cousins used to always play with them.
This brooch belonged to my grandmother. She always called it the Phoenix. And I looked at it, and it's a stork.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from the Omni Mount Washington Resort in New Hampshire.
I would love to become a cyborg, to run faster, to jump higher, to do all kinds of things that we can't even imagine today.
Literally within minutes of having it all connected, it starts becoming part of me.
I believe the individual will be able to design their own physicality, will be able to sculpt their own identity.
Augmented on Nova.
Welcome back. I'm Maria Manessi. Benton County boys basketball may be eliminated from the tournament, but it has one more rescheduled regular season game tonight. Cole Patterson joins us live from MacArthur for more on this TVC matchup.
Thanks, Maria. A share of the TVC Ohio title is on the line tonight as the Benton County Vikings are at home to take on the River Valley Raiders. Tonight's game is the last of the season for the Vikings. A heartbreaking 65-37 loss to Sheridan knocked them out of the tournament Friday. Seniors Braylon Dameron and Zane Carr made impacts on the court this season. Carr led the scoring for the Vikings Friday with 12 points, and Dameron followed closely behind with 11. Benton County was able to keep the game close in the first quarter, but Sheridan's offense proved too much to handle. The Vikings look to utilize their fiery offense to go 2-0 against the Raiders after a 58-54 win at River Valley back in December. Benton County finishes its season with a 16-7 record, and with the win tonight, they would tie Alexander for the TVC Ohio title. Reporting live from Benton County High School, I'm Cole Patterson for Newswatch. Back to you, Maria.
Thanks, Cole, and be sure to go to WOUB.org for the recap of this game and all the playoff action around the TVC. Ohio women's basketball just wrapped up its road game against Akron, winning 69-66. It was a big game for the Bobcats in the Mid-American Conference standings. Ohio sits in 8th place in the MAC entering today. The top 8 teams make the MAC tournament, and Ohio needs to continue to pick up wins to stay in the picture. The Bobcats have 5 rescheduled games remaining. They won't have to wait long to see the Zips again as they host them in the Convo Saturday. Ohio baseball is off to a slow start in its young season. The Bobcats were on the road at USC Upstate this past weekend. They picked up an opening day win, but their last 2 games were rough. Ohio lost 8-2 Saturday, and the Bears got to Bobcats starter Jack Liberatore, scoring 6 runs off him in 3 innings. USC Upstate took the series Sunday with its 14-2 win. Ohio had 5 errors that led to 13 unearned runs. Ohio is back on the road this weekend at Eastern Kentucky. Ohio softball also looks to rebound after dropping 4 of 5 games this weekend. The Bobcats' only victory came Saturday against Lamar, 7-2. Ohio dropped both battles to Creighton and New Mexico. The Bobcats' offense was cold for much of the weekend, but their best output came Saturday evening. Ohio tallied 8 runs on 8 hits, but still lost to Creighton. Ohio next heads to Bowling Green, Kentucky to play 5 more games next weekend. The Columbus Blue Jackets carry their hot streak into tomorrow night's game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Columbus has been on a bit of a roll lately. The Jackets are winners of 7 of their last 9 games. Offense is at a premium for the Jackets. They've scored 7 goals in each of their past 2 games. The Jackets sit 5th in the Metropolitan Division with 51 points, but there is a huge gap between them and the Washington Capitals, who have 65 points. Face-off tomorrow against Toronto is at 7 p.m. I'm Maria Manessi, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Andre.
We're going to take a final look at the weather with Cam.
Thank you, Andre. Tomorrow we'll have a high of 64 degrees and an 80% chance of rain with potential PM thunderstorms starting at around 3 p.m. Wind will be south between 10 and 15 miles per hour, and across the area we will be affected by that same system that will continue to bring high weather to the area. And if you'll pardon me for the technical error, on our 7-day forecast we'll have our storm system that is affecting us tonight, and we have another winter weather system that could happen later in the week. That's all I have. Back to you.
Thanks, Cam. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Andre Norris.
And I'm Curtis Fader. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient Tempstar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring Tempstar quality you can feel. Support comes from the Center for Campus and Community Engagement at Ohio University and